Hey, this is Rob Ryder, Thursday, May 9th, 2013. And I've shown this before numerous times. This is my certified copy of record of birth. And, it's always fascinated me with some of the things it says on here, like Robert Allen Ritlewski, right, is a child, now remaining in my office, and the whole thereof, viz. And viz had a particular definition. Had to do with a finding of a jury and child, right? And then you got Ritlewski, Robert Allen, right, which is where the idea for the true name came up, because your true name is your surname coupled with your given name and initials. And so your initials would be if you're a junior or a senior, I guess. But it's your true name, it's your surname with your given name. But for today, then it shows my parents with my mother's maiden name are in residence of Auburn, Michigan, place of birth, or birthplace of each, Michigan, right? So, but the bottom here, right, it's got in testimony whereof, so it's got a testimony statement on a particular day. Stephen Toth, the county clerk, and then the deputy clerk signed, and then they put the circuit court for the county of Bay. This is the court of record seal, and it's nice, beautiful gold seal. What's that got to do with anything? Well, it's going to have something to do with what I was talking to Juan earlier today about, with the fictitious name. And let me see. We'll talk about this form here later, but this is the one I would do for Kent County. So we're not going to start with this one, but I just want to show you at the bottom. It's got a testimony statement. It's got the county clerk's name. It's got a place for the deputy. All right, county clerk, deputy. Deputy's going to sign. And there's room over here to put a big ass gold seal. And then this would be recorded in the court of record, which would be binding on the world. So this really started, this is where it is for Florida, right? It's fictitious name registration. Now Florida, you do it through the Secretary of State. Michigan, you do it through the county. In either case, I think it needs to go to the other. All right, so there's three places this is going to be seen. It's going to be in the county, it's going to be in the state, and then Bobby found in Arizona where it looks like you can send it to the trademark division in the federal government. And then you will have trademarked your name, and it will become your, lack of a better term, your coat of arms, your armorial bearings. Nobody can use, you got a trademark name now. What we haven't done, that fictitious name exists, we haven't claimed it. And I had done a video earlier on this, and I think it was called Claim the Name, based on really the stuff we're talking about now. But what's bringing it up again, for those who didn't see the email or hear the call that I put on TalkShoe, and hell, I don't remember what my TalkShoe thing is. Sorry. I did with Juan today at, what is today? Did I say it was? May 9th. Where he has gone and done this fictitious thing here, right? So this is what the form looks like. Make it a little smaller to start with. This is for Florida. And application for registration of fictitious name. Juan filled one of these out. He got the certificate back. He took the certificate into a court case. He gave it to the judge. The attorney shows up for the court case. The attorney says probably the same things he says every time he's in a foreclosure to start the case off. And the judge looked over at Juan and said, "Do you object to that?" And Juan said, "Well, sure." Sustained. That's what the judge did, because all Juan brought in was this piece of paper. Well, not this, the certificate that shows that he has claimed the fictitious name. And I can't show his documents, right? I'm sorry, I can't show him. He doesn't want it out, but it starts with this form here. And so all he did on this form is You put the fictitious name to be registered. So this is your all capital letter name. First, middle, and last. And for the address, now he put care of, C/O. I don't think that that's necessary. Really what you want to do, right now they're sending mail to a fictitious name, right? Wherever your all capital letter fictitious name gets his mail, that's his mailing address. So put it on here. Because you want to tie that mailing address and this name as a fictitious business. It's not you, it's a business. And it doesn't ask you on this one what your business is. But when we were going through this before, people were asked, well, what is the nature of your business? You could tell them it's property management. You could tell them it's estate management. Right? You could tell them it's real estate. Just say it's property management. All right, so he filled out the mailing address. Now, Juan put X's in the state, and this comes from the stuff we were doing earlier this year, claiming the domicile and stuff. So he had put X's here. And in the zip code, he put it in brackets. Again, I don't know that any of that's necessary. I don't know that it would harm because it doesn't show on the certificate you get anyways. It just shows that the certificate has been, somebody's claimed the name. Florida County of principal place of business. So he put his county down here, county of, whatever county he was in. He didn't put the FEI number. Now, going down to this section, this is the owner of fictitious name if an individual. So you're going to put it in one. And see, they ask for your last name first anyways, right? Which is, that says right here. Rytlewski Robert Allen is, darn it, what they're asking for. And M.I. Now I've gone and looked at M.I. to see what it's an abbreviation of, and I didn't find it. I don't believe it's abbreviation for middle initial whatsoever. I think M. may be the abbreviation for middle name, and I. may be the abbreviation for an initial. So if I was a junior, I would have initials. You want to put your you want to put your full middle name on here. Rytlewski Robert Allen. And you can put the exact same address as you put up here. The reason being is, if they're addressing you, they have to do it by your last name. You're the owner. If they're addressing the corporation, they're going to do it by the all caps name. Okay, and then didn't fill out any of that stuff, and then he did the bottom. Put the signature of the owner. However, you would normally sign your name. Put a phone number, email address if you wanted to do it. So there was none of this other stuff was filled out, right? Because this is if there's two owners. Well, there isn't. There's only one. Owners of fictitious name if other than an individual, right? So this is, you would use this to do a corporation, to open Pepsi. None of that was done. All that was done was block 1, fictitious name, the address, city, state, zip code, the county. You didn't put an FEI number, last, first, middle, address, the same as the address up here, because it's addressed to somebody else. Because what's happened since we've never claimed the fictitious name, it's always been there. It's been there since you were born. We haven't claimed it since we were 5. Because I think that that's what this is showing. This is the original registration. This is my owner certificate of title to my all capital letter name estate. But the way the rules are written, if you don't renew it every 5 years, right, then it goes into an abandoned estate or abandoned name. I'll show you that with the rules that go with Michigan's here in just a second. But this is all Juan filled out, and then he mailed it in, and he got the certificate back, and they said he had to put it in the newspaper. I mean, this is in the instructions, right? He had to put it in the newspaper for at least a week, I think. And then you get the affidavit of public notice, I guess, whatever they call it when you put a newspaper. And then he took that information, and then just a short, brief comment on like a motion page to say he was entering this in the court case and certifying that he was going to send a copy to the plaintiff's attorney. Now, he had 4 cases going on. Since he did this back in February, he's not gotten mail in any of the cases. And the reason for this is, once the state acknowledges that your all capital letter name is a fictitious entity, that it's a corporation, and that it's registered, well then, what you have now are 2 registered corporations in a disagreement if you're in a foreclosure. Well, now we go to contract law, true contract law. And in true contract law, it has to be a bilateral contract. They haven't signed any contracts. Right? They don't have a contract. What they're trying to get you to believe is you're the all capital letter name, and that deed of trust or mortgage that you are the only signator on, right, is really a gift or a donation to them. Because you can do that on a unilateral contract. You could give a gift. However, what it is sitting there, it hasn't been properly done, because if you wanted to give it as a gift, it would have to look like this. You'd have to have witnesses. The court needs to know that you're giving your property away. So I think because the records in the court of record are what are used by law in all courts of law. Right? So that's the important thing. The office of the recorder, whatever's in the office of the recorder, which is the court of record in my opinion, and it's not a courtroom, right? It's a bunch of files. That's the court of record. What's the record say? Open a record, look in it. He's the owner. There's his certificate. You didn't used to have one of those in there. Now you do. Now they can't say they're the owner because there's already somebody in there saying that, you're in there saying you're the owner. And they'd have to call you a liar. And so his case was stayed, right? So what the judge did the first time is she stayed the proceedings. So first of all, she told Juan to object to what the attorney said, or just said, do you object? Yep, okay, sustain. And then she said she was going to do a stay of the proceedings for 30 days, and the attorney started to talk again, and she looked at him and said something really gruff, which I'm sure is a sign to the attorney, shut your damn mouth, it's done. Well, as soon as Juan got outside the door, the attorney's running after him, wondering, rightly so, what did you just do? Because this don't happen to him. It just happened. Juan showed him the certificate and said, I'm going to mail one to you anyways. He said, well, I want it now, basically. So, okay, here's a copy. And so he told Juan, I'm going to take care of this. You're misrepresenting your position or something like that. And so at first Juan was a little bit scared, man. What did I do something wrong? But he's not heard from him since February in any of these cases. Now, after that hearing, he was 30 days, had another hearing. That's what the judge said. Stay for 30 days till you get an attorney. He hadn't gotten one yet. He was still going to do it himself. Was running late, got to court. Court was already over. He was only 10 minutes late. Oh no, what'd they do, man? I wasn't here. You're going to have to wait and get the mail. Shit. The things that you think about, right? Until he gets the mail and he finds out that the motion that the plaintiff had put in to strike Juan's earlier affidavit, it had nothing to do with this form, but he had put this affidavit in, right, had been denied by the court. They denied the motion to strike his affidavit. What does that mean? It means the affidavit stands as truth. So what we have now is strictly UCC stuff, right? We've gotten the separation that we need between the all capital letter name and ourselves. And now the all capital letter name is a corporation. And in corporations, between corporations, for one corporation to say another corporation has a debt to them, what do you think they need to have? Need to have a contract signed by both parties. Because in commerce, both parties have to agree. You can't have a unilateral contract. It has to be a bilateral contract signed by both parties. And they don't have any of those with us. This is huge stuff. Huge, huge, huge. Okay, so Anyways, you could do it online, right? And in Florida, you could just go do it online and do it. Cost you $50. Then if you want to get a certified copy, a certificate of status, an additional 10, and a certified copy for an additional 30. Do you need those things? I don't know. Do you? You want to cover every base, it's going to cost you 90, right? If you think you just need the one, it's going to cost you 50. And it only takes a few days to happen. So I think once, from the time he did his and got it back, it was maybe 7 to 10 days. But even though he had this, see, here's the thing, even though he had this, it hadn't changed anything in court yet. It wasn't until he put it in the court case. So even if you don't have a court case, what you want to do is get it into the court of record, into a miscellaneous file or a fictitious name file or whatever they have, right? You got a file for fictitious names? Yes. Or no. And have your public notice paperwork, and then say, well, do you have a place for public notice? Right? So take your, in these states, you have to go to the newspaper. In Michigan, you can do it all with the clerk, as we'll see in a second. But so, okay, so that can go away, I can go away, and let's look at, because this is how they get you in Michigan, right? And I'm sure we could find this in all the states, but if you haven't done this, as you'll see, you can't have access to the state courts. So these are the rules that on this form here, they're so nice. They put it right at the top. What are they going to do? Under provisions of MCLA 445.1 to 445.5. I got 5 easy rules. What's it say? A person shall not carry on, conduct, or transact business in the state under an assumed name or under a designation, name, or style other than the real name of the person. What's the real name? Surname coupled with given name. Owning, conducting, transacting that business unless the person files in duplicate, 2, in the office of the clerk of the county. Didn't say county clerk, said in the office of the clerk of the county, or counties in which the person owns, conducts, transacts, or intends to own, conduct, or transact business. A certificate on a form furnished by the county clerk, which for my county looks like this, furnished by the county clerk. Setting forth the name under which the business is owned, or to be owned, conducted, or transacted, and the true or real full name, which is this one, Rytlewski, Robert Allen, is your true name by definition. Setting forth an address of the person owning, conducting, okay, name of the company and the address, and the name of the person and the address. At the time of filing the certificate, the person shall pay the clerk a filing fee of $6. So in Michigan, you don't want to go any further than this. You want to get this part done first. Pay the $6, have the certificate. The certificate shall be executed and duly acknowledged by the person owning, conducting, or intending to conduct the business. So let's take a look, because that's what we want to do first. Okay, this isn't a new, because the name has existed. I just haven't claimed it in quite some time, since I was 5 or 7 or whenever they first made it go away. It would be a renewal. Name of business, Robert Allen Rytlewski, all caps. Address, 10955 14 Mile Road Southeast, Rockford, Michigan, 49341. Just like the IRS sends it to me. Name of persons owning. Owning. Name of persons owning. Well, that would be your true name, Rytlewski, Robert Allen. What's the residence? 10955 14 Mile Road Northeast, Rockford, Michigan, 49341. Partnership certificate. The undersigned hereby certifies under provisions of something else. I think that would be if you're married, right? But this particular one, this name of this business, is we could have all sorts of assumed names out there now that we don't know about. You and your wife together would make an assumed name of some kind, and there'd be 2 partners, right? All these are different little things, but the master one for you is your birth one. And so if we capture that, it might take care of the rest. So is or is not, and then you sign it, subscribe before the notary. So just take it to the clerk's office and do it there. And then I, Mary Hollenrack, clerk of the county. See, it didn't say county clerk, although you go to our office, it's going to say county clerk. Clerk of the county of Kent and the circuit court thereof, do hereby certify the foregoing to be a true and exact copy of the original document online in the office of the county clerk. What this will end up being, because you're doing a duplicate, is your owner's original certificate of title. They're going to have the original certificate of title online for everyone to see that you're the owner. And you're going to have the owner's copy, which is a true and exact copy. In testimony whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and official seal at the city of Grand Rapids on, and Mary's already on here, and the clerk is going to sign, and I'm taking this in to say when you're done, deputy clerk, there should be a big gold seal right there. Right there. Beautiful. Okay, continuing on. So I want to get that done and pay him $6. The clerk shall certify the duplicate and return it to the applicant. Okay. Address means the residence or principal business address of the person. Yeah, okay, person, whatever a person is. Charter county can pay you can pay a little bit more in a charter county. Certificate, use of assumed name authorized for 5 years. Renewal of certificate, filing form, fee, duration, notice, abandonment. Guess what? These things have happened. So the certificate, when acknowledged and filed as required in Section 1, authorized for use of assumed name for 5 years. If before the expiration date, a renewal certificate on forms to be provided by the county clerk is filed with the county clerk, a fee of $4 paid, the renewal certificate shall extend to the right to use the assumed name for another additional 5-year period from the date of expiration. So you don't need to wait 5 years. What I'm going to do is every year on my birthday, I'm going to get another one. That'll be my birthday present to myself. I'm good for 5 years. Failure to file a renewal certificate and pay the fee of $4 before the expiration date shall on that date constitute abandonment of the assumed name. Abandonment of the assumed name. You just abandon your property. And right now, somebody else is claiming to be your all caps and they go into court. Because when they go to the file, it has an unknown owner. Assumed name certificates, filing period, rejection by county clerk. A person is now owning or conducting such business under assumed name or under such designation referred to in Section 1 shall file such certificate or renewal certificate as here in before prescribed within 90 days after this act shall take effect, and after 30 days notice from the county clerk and persons hereafter. I wonder if they ever really did let us know we had to do this. Right? Who knows? The person hereafter owning, conducting, transacting business as aforesaid shall, before commencing said business, file such certificate in a manner here before prescribed. The several county clerks of this state are hereby authorized to reject any assumed name which is likely to mislead the public, or any assumed name already filed in the county, or so nearly similar thereto as to lead to confusion and deception, which is why you don't want to do this as a new one, because your name's already in there. You're already getting mail. The county's the one that gives your address to the post office. We're doing a renewal. We're doing a renewal. At least I am. Assumed name, change of business location, certificate, filing. Now that's a little bit confusing. Whenever an assumed name concern has changed or changes its place of business, right? So originally, I'm in Auburn, Michigan, apparently. Or I'm in Bay City, Michigan, right? I guess I was doing business in Bay City. It shall be the duty of the person or persons conducting such business to file with the county clerk with whom the certificate or renewal certificate required under the provision of Section 1 of this Act was filed. To file with the county clerk with whom certificate under the provision of the Act was filed. File what? It shall be the duty of the person or persons conducting such business to file with the county clerk a certificate stating the change in business location, like change of address. What county clerk? Where it is now, or where I'm going to. I'm not really sure. But let's say, but we'll go with what it says. With whom the certificate or renewal certificate required under the provisions of Section 1(1)(a) of this Act was filed. Well, I guess I'm not going to my birth county. I'm going to Kent County. It's not where I was born. So since this is the place I need to register it with, I guess I need to register with them a certificate stating the change in business location, which certificate shall be attached by the county clerk to the certificate or renewal certificate filed under the provisions of 1(a). So there's another certificate stating the change in the business location. It didn't say address, it says the location, right? So you need to look up the definition of business location and see what meets the criteria, because I would think the business location was County of Bay, right? I'm gonna see if I can get them to tell me. Get this close, they better start giving some answers, or I'm putting a complaint. The problem is you can't get any remedy until you've done this. This is going to blow you away. Which certificate shall be attached to the county clerk? Okay. A change of address with this form here. Find the change of address form with this here. Okay. No problem. Assumed name discontinuance of operation certificate. When assumed name concern shall go out of business, it shall be the duty of the person or persons who have conducted such business to file a certificate in the county clerk or county such concern transacted business of discontinuance of operation of the business in such county or counties, which certificate shall be attached by the county clerk to the certificate of renewal certificate filed. I think that's where you take your death certificate for your loved ones that have passed away. We need to shut down their business. Something to think about. Certified copies of original. Upon request and payment of $2 per copy, the clerk shall supply certified copies of original or renewal certificates. That's pretty cheap. Sounds like the right office when they're talking $2. Okay. Now this is the difference in Michigan, right? You paid $6 to fill this out and get it certified. That was $6. Now, the county clerk shall keep an alphabetical index of all persons filing certificates provided for in this act, and for indexing and filing of certificates shall receive a fee of $10. Remember, you're taking them 2 copies, you're going to keep one and they're going to keep one, and now they're going to go, first they certified it, that was for $6, now they're going to go index it and file it for 10. A copy of the certificate duly certified to by the county clerk in whose office the same is filed shall be presumptive evidence in all courts of law in this state of the facts contained in the certificate. And what are the facts in the certificate? Who the frickin' owner of the business is. This is beautiful. It's going into the court of record, and it's going to be, this is going to have the force of law in all courts in the world. Shall be presumptive evidence in all courts of law. All courts of law. Upon the payment of the $10, the payer shall be entitled to 2 certified copies of the certificate without extra charge, with an additional copies for $1 each at the time of filing the original certificate. So go on and pay the $6, get it certified, and then tell them you want to have it indexed and filed. And if you're in Michigan, take these laws in with you. If you could print it out the way I have it highlighted, I'd do it that way and say, we're doing it by the laws at the top, not by your custom. You're not going to let me do it this way? I need to talk to your boss. Every person who is a non-resident of the state, upon filing a certificate provided for this act, shall file an irrevocable consent to the actions to be commenced against the person in the courts of the state by service or process pleading authorized by the laws of the state. Are we a resident of the state or not? I don't know, right? I'm going to go do the easy part first, see what it does. If I got to come back and do this, make myself a non-resident, I'll do another certificate. There wasn't too much there, but here's the one that where they get you. Because violation of act, penalty, violation of contracts, effect. Any persons or persons owning, carrying, or conducting or transacting business as foresaid who shall fail to comply with the provision of this act, which is to do one of these. not doing one of these is not complying with the act, shall be guilty of a misdemeanor. Bingo. Everyone's guilty. We're already guilty of a misdemeanor right now sitting at home. And upon conviction thereof shall be punished by a fine of not less than $25 nor more than 100, or by imprisonment in the county jail for a term of not exceeding 30 days, or both, such fine and imprisonment in the discretion of the court. And each day any person or persons shall violate any provision of this act shall be deemed a separate offense. This is how they can put you in jail with nothing, just by this, because you're not following this act. It's enough reason to keep you in jail without filing any charges. Provided, however, the fact that a penalty is provided herein for noncompliance with the provisions of this act shall not be construed to avoid contracts. But any person or persons failing to file the certificate required in Section 1 or 1A shall be prohibited from bringing any suit, action, or proceeding in any of the courts of this state. So it's not going to avoid any contracts, but you're not going to be able to defend yourself because you can't bring any suits, actions, or proceedings in any court of the state until you file the damn paperwork. In relation to any contract or other matter made or done by such persons or persons under an assumed or fictitious name, such as any contract issue, you can't bring up until you've done this. And we have contract issues because we've signed contracts and they haven't. And has somebody else been using your fictitious name? Because when they go to court to get this property, they're saying they're you. And when somebody goes and looks in the record, well, there's no registered owner. I guess if nobody disagrees, he is the owner. We're going to change that. We're going to get a big gold star in our paper and put it in that record, and you're going to own the name until after full compliance with provisions of this act. Once you've done that, well, now you can sue them. You can bring a suit, an action, or proceeding. But no persons or persons doing business under a fictitious name or as the assignee or assignee thereof shall maintain or prosecute any action, nor shall any order, judgment, or decree be made in any action heretofore or hereafter commenced in any court of this state upon an account of any contract or contracts made or transactions had under such fictitious name after August 14th, 1919. Pretty much covers us. No person or persons doing business under a fictitious name or as an assignee shall therefore maintain or prosecute an action or decree made therefore hereafter commenced in any court upon an account for contracts. If conducting of such business under a fictitious name has ceased. If the conduct of such business, that's why, because I did it to myself. Alright, if the conduct of such business under such fictitious name has ceased. So, where did that start? No persons or persons doing business under the fictitious name or as an assignee thereof shall maintain or prosecute any action or shall any order, judgment, or decree be made in an action heretofore or hereafter commenced in any court of this state upon an account or accounts of contracts made or transactions had under such fictitious name after 1919 if the conduct of such business under fictitious name has ceased, or if it is still conducted under such fictitious name when until after full compliance with the provisions of this act. Again, we got to comply with the act. I think that if you have death certificates of loved ones, that somehow they need to go into this from one of those earlier sections. Right now I'm going to worry about the living. Right? I'm not going to worry about the decedents. I'm going to take care of the owners, the living. And the owners need to go and say they're the frickin' owner and say that the name is their property and get it into the court of record so it's presumptive evidence in all courts of law. And it's a one-page document. However, you may need to have a change of address for them. We'll figure out how to do that next. But I just wanted to add this to the audio I did earlier on TalkShoe. If you go to my TalkShoe site, which is Taking Clues from Ancient Books. Taking Clues from Ancient Books is the TalkShoe site. And on there was a call from today, which is May 9th with Juan. And you can listen to him tell his story about being on court and what happened. Okay, good enough. Y'all have a great night.